and welcome to my channel. I'm Siakula, and in this video I will show you step by step how to draw this cute cactus in Procreate. Before you start, make sure to download the color palette and that you have all my free brushes. Link is in the description. And if you enjoyed this tutorial and would like to get more videos like this, make sure to check out my Patreon. I add there a new video every week. And with all that being said, grab your drawing tools, relax, and let's start. Let's make a new canvas, A for canvas from Procreate. And right away we can add here a background color. Let's open the color palette and take color number 17 and just drag and drop it to the canvas like this. Now on a new layer we are going to make a sketch. So let's tap here on this plus to make a new layer. Let's pick the color for the sketch, take color number 1, and now let's pick a brush. I'm going to use here my Siakula pencil brush from Siakula Freebies brushes. If you want, you can use any other brush that you like to use for sketching. I'll make the brush size 17. And let's start with drawing the pot. So let's just draw here an oval shape. Like this. You can hold your pencil on a screen to make this a nice shape. And now you can put your finger here to make this horizontal. Let's make it about this size. And now we have to draw the bottom part. I would like it to be a little bit curved, so I'm going to draw it like that. Right away I'm going to move it on a canvas. So let's take the arrow tool. At the bottom you can pick uniform option. And to have it right in the middle of the canvas, we can turn on snapping. So make sure your snapping is turned on over here. So now we can move it and it will snap to the middle of the canvas. I'm going to put it somewhere over here. When you finish, you can just tap here. Okay, so let's draw the cactus. Let's draw the main body. Let's draw it like that. And we can divide it into 3 parts over here. So just draw lines going here from the middle of the top down like this. Now we can draw here his arms. Let's call them arms. So let's draw an oval shape over here, like this. And then one still on top, attached to it, like that. We can also divide it into 3 parts, like this. Okay. And now let's do it here for the left side. Maybe here we can draw them lower. Over here one. And then second one over here. I'm going to fix here this line. Make it look nicer and more even. I'm going to quickly erase this. And we can draw here a cute face. So let's draw a smile like that. We can add here a small tongue and then eyes in this way. And also here on top we can add a flower. So let's start here with the middle part over here. And then around it we can draw petals. Okay, now if you want, you can take the arrow tool again and adjust the size of this. You can make it bigger or smaller and still move it on a canvas. I like him over here like this. So I'm going to tap here to finish this. So the sketch is finished. We can change the blending mode of this. So let's tap here on this N letter and set it as multiply. We can turn down the opacity of this so it's not too strong. I will make it 30%. We can start now drawing the shapes. Let's make a new layer and put it under the sketch over here. Let's start with the pot. Let's pick the color for this. Take color number 2. And let's pick a brush. Let's go here to calligraphy and take monoline brush. Let's use here brush size maybe 20. And we can now outline the pot. we are going to do it in two parts. We can outline first this part in front. So here we can draw an arc, like that. Let's tap here on this edit arc, and you can adjust the points, so it will match the sketch. When you finish, you can tap on the screen. And now let's add here this bottom line. And if you find that your lines are shaky, we can fix it. We can go to the Actions menu, Preferences, Pressure and Smoothing, and here make the stabilization a higher number. Let's make it about 50%, so this way our lines will be not shaky. Now you can see this will be way easier to make here a nice shape. Okay, let's color this inside, so drag and drop the color in here. And now on a new layer we can draw the back of the pot, the oval shape. So let's make a new layer and move this under that layer we're just drawing on. Let's draw now here this top line. Okay, and now we have to close this shape, so just draw a line somewhere underneath, so we can color this inside. And here I have noticed I have this ugly point on this shape, so I'm going to go back to this layer, take the eraser. My eraser is set as monoline brush. I'll make the size 13 and just fix this so it will look nice. Okay, so our shapes for the pot are ready. Now let's draw the shapes for the cactus. Let's make a new layer, and we have to put this layer under that main shape for the pot, like this. Let's pick the color, take color number 5, and let's draw it. Let's draw here this big part first. Close this shape and color this inside. Now we are going to draw this middle part on a new layer. So let's make a new layer. And for a moment, so we can see better what we are drawing, we can turn down the opacity of this layer underneath. So let's go over here and turn it down just for a moment. And we are still on our new layer, and we can draw here this middle shape. We can draw this going outside of that main shape, because we are going to set it as clipping mask in a second. You will see what I mean. Let's draw this, close this shape, and color this inside. Okay. So now we want this shape to be only here on this bigger part. We just have to set it as clipping mask. First, let's go back to the other layer, this one, and make the opacity 100% again. And now this little part, we can set this layer as clipping mask. So tap here and pick clipping mask. Now we don't see here this part that we drew outside. In the same way, we are going to draw the arms over here. So let's make a new layer first. We can draw here this shape, color this inside. On the same layer we can draw this one over here, color this inside. Now we can make this layer less visible. I will make it 53%. And now let's make a new layer and draw here those lines in the middle. Here I see that I forgot to draw them in the sketch, but that's okay. I can just draw them now. Okay, so like this. And now we have to set this layer as clipping mask and also make this layer opacity 100%. Okay. And now let's make a new layer to draw the top parts of the arms. Color this inside. And now this one. Color this inside. Now again, let's make this opacity less for a second. Make a new layer. Draw here those other shapes. Set them as clipping mask. and bring back the opacity of the first layer over here. Okay? Now on the new layer we can draw the petals for the flower. So let's make a new layer. Let's pick the color. Take color number 12. And we can draw them. Just outline here the outside lines. So we can color this shape inside, like this. And now let's make a new layer to draw the middle part of the flower. Let's take for this color number 9. Draw it over here. And color this inside. We can draw the face in the end. So now when we have it like this, we can start adding here some textures, shadows and lights. Let's start with the pot. Let's add here light and shadow first. So let's go to the layer of it. And now we want to draw only on this shape. We can do it by setting this layer as alpha lock. So let's tap here and pick alpha lock. Let's pick the color for the shadows. Take color number 3. And now let's pick a brush. Let's go here to charcoals. And we can use here this one, 6B compressed. Let's make the brush size about 45%. And we can add the shadows at the bottom part here and right, like this. Okay, we can make them spread here nicely, like that. Okay, and on the same layer we can add lights. So let's change the color. Take color number 4. And let's add them here on the left side, like this. And then also a little bit here on the right side where we have the shadow. So like that. Let's make here this shadow a little bit stronger. We can do it on a new layer. So let's make a new layer and set it as clipping mask. So tap here and pick clipping mask. So again, now we can draw only on this shape. Let's change the blending mode of this layer. For the shadows, we can set it here to multiply. Let's take the darker color, color number 3. We can make the brush size a little bit smaller, about 30%. And just make this bottom part and right side a little bit darker. Okay, now we can adjust the opacity of this. So let's go here and maybe I will turn it down a little bit. I'll make it 79%. Okay, I think it would be nice if we get here some kind of pattern on this pot. Let's make a new layer for this. And we are going to put it over here under the shadows. Okay, let's pick the color for this. Let's take here color number 9. And let's pick a brush. Over here you can pick any brush with some kind of texture. You can go here to my Siakulaart special brushes and take maybe one of these. Here at the bottom. But I would like to add here dots. So for this I'm going to use a brush from my paid Siakulaart texture brush set. If you are interested in it, you can check it out. It is linked in the description of this video. But it's not necessary to have this to draw this illustration. I'm going to take here this brush, dots to texture. And with the brush size 28, we can draw this going outside of the shape of the pot. Now we have to adjust how this looks, so it will kind of go with the shape of the pot. Let's take the arrow tool, and here at the bottom, we can pick here this warp option. Now we can adjust here those points and bend this pattern a little bit so it will go like the pot shape. Okay, so like this. Pay attention to this top line so it will look nice. And when you finish, just tap here. We are going to change the blending mode of this layer. so it will blend better with the whole pot. So let's go over here and we can set it here to soft light. And maybe I'm going to turn down the opacity of this. I want this to be visible just a little bit. I will make this opacity 72%. Okay, so this part over here is finished. Now we can add here some shadow to this back part of the pot. So it's this layer over here. We can set it as alpha lock. Let's take here our shadow color, color number 3. And let's go back to the brush we used for this. So go to charcoals and take 6B compressed. Let's make the brush size a bit smaller, about 18. And we can add here this over here like that. And then also here closer to the cactus. Okay? We can make it now darker. Let's make a new layer on top of this one. And set it as clipping mask. And change this blending mode to multiply. So now let's make it darker right over here by the cactus. Like that, and also over here. And now let's add here some light. Let's go back to this layer over here. Take the color for the light, color number 4. We can make the brush size small now, maybe like 5%. And just go here on the edge, like that, on both sides. And we can do the same now to this front part. Let's go back to it, over here. And just draw here this top part like that. So this will look like it's in a light, and also it will add here some more dimension to this pot. And now let's take a small break, and I would like to ask you to write a comment, I can draw this. It would mean a lot to me, I would know that you enjoyed this video, and I could see who is watching me, so thank you for doing that. And now let's go back to drawing. Okay, we can move on now and add some shadow and light to the cactus, to the main part. So let's go to the layer of it, the big shape over here, and let's set it here as alpha lock. Let's pick the color for the shadows, color number 6, and now let's pick a brush to add here this shadow. You can pick here any other brush from this charcoal set. Or if you want something different, maybe you can go to my siakulaart special brushes and pick here this medium noise or big noise. Or maybe those texture brushes here. But I would like to use here a brush from my siakulaart texture brushes. I'm going to use here this one, Sand and Shells. With the brush size 15. Let's add now shadow to the bottom part, because we know that there'll be shadow here for sure. Okay, so just like that. Okay, now we can also add shadow here on this right side, just like we added it to the pot. So go over here like that, on the right side. We are also going to have some shadow here under this flower. So let's add it. Okay, and now here under those arms, so like that. And also over here. And now there will be some shadow right on this edge over here. So let's add it over here. Like that. I'm going to add here some more shadow from this arm. And this is it. Now let's add here some light. So let's take the color for the light, color number 7. And we can add it now. Let's start here with this right side, right on the edge. Like that. Make this a little bit lighter here. And now over here, kind of in between those shadows, like that. And we're going to have here a lot of light on this right side over here. Okay, so like this. And then also big light over here. Like that. Right away we can make some of the shadows stronger. For example, right under the flower, or right here on this edge, or next to the arms. Let's pick this color number 8. And for this we can change the brush. So again, you can pick any brush that you like. I'm going to take here this one, soft spray. And with a small brush size, about 5%, I'm going to make here this darker right under this arm, for example. Okay, here at the bottom. Over here. And under the flower. And now over here by this edge. And this will be enough. We can do the same now to this middle part. So let's go to the layer with it over here. And let's set it as alpha lock. Let's change the color to color number 6. And let's go back to that other brush. So for me it's this one, Sand and Shells. And let's start with adding some shadow here under the flower. Okay. And now here on the left side of this shape. Like that. And here the bottom part. Now let's take the color for the lights, color number 7. We can brighten up the right side of it. Over here like that. And this should be good. And also we can bring some more here right in the middle, very, very lightly. Okay, now we can make it stronger with that other color and other brush. So color number 8. And for me, this soft spray brush. I'll make you this stronger on this side. At the bottom. And now here under the flower. If you want to see how this looks now, you can turn off the sketch for a second. So just tap here and you see that this looks already nice. Okay, let's keep going. And we're going to do the same to the arms. So let's start over here. Let's tap on this layer and set it as alpha lock. We can take color number 6 for the shadows. Take the brush used for the shadows and lights, so Sand and Shells from me. And let's add now some shadow here under this top part of the arm, like that. And then here on the right side and the bottom part, like this. And similar to those shapes over here, we can add this here on this edge, like that. And this is enough. So now over here at the bottom, just a little bit on the right side. And now over here stronger. And now under the top part of this arm. So like this. Let's take the color for the light, color number 7. And we can add it now over here. Like that. And here. Now let's make the shadows stronger with the other color, color number 8. And the other brush, so soft spray from me. Let's make it stronger here right under the other parts of the arms, and also over here and here by the edge. Okay, so like this. Now let's color those middle parts. So let's go to this layer over here, set it as alpha lock. Let's take color number 6, go back to the other brush, and make it darker under the top part, at the bottom, and now here on the left side, like that, and here at the bottom, under the top part, and here on the left side. Okay, now let's add the light. Take color number 7, make it brighter over here on this side, and also over here. Okay, and now let's use the other color and other brush for stronger shadow. So color number 8, and the other brush. Let's make it darker on top, at the bottom, and here on the sides a little bit. Okay, and now the top parts of the arms. So let's go to the layer of it, set it as alpha lock. Let's go back to the shadow color, color number 6. Take the brush, sand and shells, and let's edit here the bottom part and the right side, like this. Okay, and now over here to the bottom part and right side. Okay, now the light color, color number 7. We can edit here now a lot on top. A little bit here on the shadow side. Like this should be enough. Now we can take the color for the dark shadows, color number 8. Change the brush and make them darker at the bottom part and right here by the edge. And now let's move on to those middle parts. So let's go to this layer over here, set it as alpha lock, take color number 6 for the shadows, take the other brush, sand and shells, and let's add here the shadow on the left side and the bottom part, like that. Okay, and now color number 7 for the light. Let's add it over here and also over here. And now the darker shadow color, color number 8. Let's change the brush and make it darker, just like that over here. Okay, so the lights and shadows on the cactus are finished. We can add here some kind of texture. We can add here the texture to all of those elements at once. To do that, first we have to have this shape all together on one layer. If you want, you can merge those layers together, just pinch them together like this, but I would like to keep them separately, so that's why I'm going to group this first. I'm going to swipe on those layers to the right, like this, to select them all, and then I'm going to tap here on group. So now this is all in one group. Now we can duplicate this group, so swipe on it to the left and pick duplicate. And we can turn this into one layer by tapping here and picking flatten. Now we have to select this shape, so let's tap here and pick select. At the bottom, make sure that the color fill is off. And with this selected, we can make a new layer. And we can now color here only in this area. Let's pick the color. Let's take color number 9. And let's pick a brush. So again, you can pick any brush that you like with some kind of light texture, some kind of small particles. Maybe here from Siakulaart Special, you could use here the soft splash brush. Or if you're on my Patreon, there's also other brushes here that you can use from Patreon textures. Like for example, this rice brush over here. But I would like to use here a brush from my Siakulaart Textures brushes. And it will be this one, Speckled. With the brush size 63, I'm just going to add it here to all of this cactus like this. I like this texture, I think it looks very nice. So when you add your texture, you can tap here to finish this. And now we can change blending mode of this layer. Let's set this here to screen. And now turn down the opacity so it's not too strong. I'm going to make it here maybe 59%. Okay? And now we can just hide this layer, we don't need this anymore. So we can just tap here. Okay, now we can add some textures and light and shadow to the flower. Let's start here with this middle part. Let's set this as alpha lock. And let's pick the color. Take color number 10. And let's pick a brush for the shadows. Maybe let's go now to charcoals. And for this we can take Willow Charcoal. With the brush size 7%, let's add this here like this to the right bottom side. Now let's add here light. Take color number 11. We can add it here right on top like that, and then a little bit here on the edge. And now let's add here also some kind of texture. Let's make a new layer for this and set it as clipping mask. We can change the color. Let's take color number 10. And let's pick here some kind of brush with texture. Maybe for this, let's go to my Siakulaart Special brushes. And let's take here Soft Splash. With the brush size 14, we can just add this here like that. Okay. And now let's change the blending mode of this. Let's set it here to linear burn and turn down the opacity. I'm going to make it 60%. And this part is finished. Now let's go to the petals over here and let's set it as alpha lock. Let's pick the color for the shadows. Take color number 14. And let's change the brush. Let's go here to charcoals. And for this we can take 4B compressed. Let's make the brush size about 5%. And we can add here some shadow on the right side of the middle part, like this. And now here on the right bottom part of each petal, so kind of like this. Now let's add here light. Let's take color number 13. And we can add it here to the tops of them, like that. Make them brighter over here. So kind of here right in the middle. And now we can make the shadows stronger. Let's make a new layer for this. Set it as clipping mask and change it to multiply. Let's go back to the shadow color, color number 14. Let's make the brush size smaller, about 3%. And make it darker right over here in the middle part, like that. And then maybe between the petals a little bit and on the edges. So like this. Now let's add here some kind of texture. For this we are going to make a new layer and put it under those extra shadows over here. We can keep here this color for now. Let's change the brush. Maybe over here we can go to painting and take here this dry brush. Let's make the brush size 19 and just draw here some kind of lines on the petals like this, going in the direction of the petal. So just like that. Now let's take here this lighter color, color number 13, and do the same. So we'll have here more colors. And now let's change the blending mode of this. So let's go over here and maybe we can change it here to color burn and turn down the opacity. I will make it 56%. So the flower here is finished. Now before we add the extra details, we can draw the face. Let's bring back our sketch over here and we can make a new layer on top of the group with those layers for the cactus. So over here. Let's pick the color. Take color number 15. And let's pick the brush. For this, I think it would be nice if we just use the sketching brush. So I'm going to go and get here my Siakulaart pencil brush from Siakulaart Freebies. I'll make the brush size 8%. And I'm going to draw here the face and the eyes. I'm going to adjust the position of this according to the illustration I have now. So I'm going to make this more centered in this part over here. I'll make the eyes a bit thicker. And now I want to move this mouthpiece more to the right side. So for this, I'm going to take the selection tool. At the bottom over here, I have color fill off, and I'm going to pick here a freehand option. I can now just select here this mouthpiece. And now take the arrow tool, put it to the uniform option, and move it. So it will be in a better position. I think over here will be better. Okay. Now I can just tap here to finish this. And I can continue by drawing here the tongue part. So like this. I'm going to manually color here this inside part. And if you see that you have problems coloring something, it means that we have to change the settings for the stabilization of the brush. So let's go to the Actions menu, Preferences, Brush and Smoothing, and make that stabilization a smaller number again. I'll make it here 12%. And now the coloring should be way easier. Now let's color here this tongue part. For this we can take color number 13. Over here maybe we can just drag and drop it in here. And now I'm going to fix this here by coloring this manually, like that. Okay, so it looks nice. And let's add here some shadow. So for this we are going to make a new layer on top of this, set it as clipping mask, and change this to multiply. Let's change the color. Let's take here color number 12. We can make the brush size now bigger, about 60%. And just add this here to the back of the tongue, like this. And just here to the top part of the mouth. And a little bit here at the bottom. So like this. Let's turn off the sketch so we can see how this looks. I'm happy with this. And now to make this blend better with this whole illustration, we can change the blending mode of this. So let's go to the layer of the eyes and mouth, and we can set it here to overlay. Okay. So now this doesn't look like it was just stuck in here. Okay, now let's add here some more details. For this we can make a new layer on top of everything over here. And right away we can change it here to overlay. Let's take here color number 15. We can keep here our sketching brush. Let's make it smaller, maybe 8%. And we can draw here some X's and lines going along the shapes to make this more interesting. You can also just draw here some separate lines like this. And don't worry if you think that this looks too dark. We are going to change the opacity of this layer. Let's do it also to the arms. Now let's maybe add something to the flower. Maybe we can add some extra small arcs here on top of this. And divide the petals even more, so this is more visible. And then draw here some lines on each petal, like this. Okay, I think this will look nicer. And for the pot, I don't think we need to add anything. So now let's adjust the opacity of this. I'm going to turn it down a little bit. I will make it here 69%. Okay, so now in the end, we can add a shadow from the pot. Let's go to the bottom over here, to this layer with the background. Let's make a new layer on top. And let's change the blending mode of this to overlay. Let's pick the color. We can start with color number 3. And let's pick a brush. Let's go here to the charcoals. And for this, let's take to be compressed. Let's make the brush size about 13. And just draw here the shadow like this. Now this is very, very light, but we're going to make it darker in a second. We are going to duplicate this layer, so swipe on it to the left and pick duplicate. Now this is already darker. Okay, and now we can make it darker right next to the pot. Let's make a new layer for this. We can change the blending mode of this to multiply. And let's draw it over here like this. So just make it darker. And to make it even nicer, we can add here one more layer. We are going to change the blending mode of this to linear burn. And just add it over here, very close to the pot. Okay, so just like that. Okay, and now in the end, we can add here some extra light to this whole illustration. For this, let's make a new layer on top of everything over here. We are going to set it as add. Right away, we can turn down the opacity because I don't want it to be too strong. We can adjust it in a second. But for now, let's start here with 42%. And let's take here color number 11. We can take here this carbon stick brush from charcoals. And with the brush size 5%, We can add here light just in few places. On the left side, like this. Let's add it to the cactus, a little bit to the pot. We can brighten up here this middle part a little bit, like that, around his face. And now the flower. Now we can check how this looks. You can turn it on and off and see the difference. I think this looks way better with the light. And we can now adjust the opacity. Let's see if we make it stronger. This is way too much. So I think I liked it about that 40%. I'll make it 40. Okay, and now this illustration is finished. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and I hope you can share drawing with me on Instagram. I would love to see it. And if you would like to draw more with me, don't forget to check out my Patreon. Link is in the description. Thank you so much for watching and see you in my next video. Bye!